I'll switch this over. I'll be back in a second. Glory, you found something cool the other day on Google Earth. It's an aircraft carrier parked at Liverpool's dock in the UK. Oh, neat. Ooh, we could put Ascent on. Ascent is pretty good. I think that might be the one. It does. I looked into it. Half-Life 2 mutes the Twitch streams. That's a shame, dude. I can't believe that. That really sucks. Yeah, it is what it is. That's the first muted VOD we've had in a really long time. Have you seen the topic I posted about in Discord about pulsar fusion? No, not yet. Yeah. I will take 5, dudes, and we will jump back here. Yeah, I'm just trying to get a video here. Yeah. OG Quake 2. That's a shame. Alright. Dudes, I got a video teed up. It's an early shuttle documentary. This is off public resource, so this should be good. I will be back. I'm just going to go outside and stretch for a second, and then we'll do space news. Just going to get more coffee. Be back when the video is done. See you soon.
In the early days of our republic, Americans watched Yankee clippers glide across the many oceans of the world, manned by proud and energetic individuals, showing our flag, breaking records for time and distance, opening up new vistas of commerce and communication.
Hey, EJ, back here again.
Well, today,
I think this one has terrible audio. You hear the hissing in the background? Let me load up another one.
home port, as those gallant ships were spotted on the horizon.
Nope, that one's pretty bad too. Yeah, that one is also bad. Here, Opening New Frontiers is a good documentary. That's a shame. Let's try a different documentary.
Sunday, April 12th, 1981. Kennedy Space Center, Florida.
Okay, that one's good, but that one has somebody's watermark on it. Let's go over here. It's your stream background noise. It's
Sunday, April 12th,
I'll be right
1981.
back. Enjoy this.
Kennedy Space Center, Florida. The Space Shuttle. 14 stories high, 2,000 tons, poised on the pad for its maiden flight. This is Columbia, the spaceship that will orbit the Earth. Its external tank. It holds over 500,000 gallons of fuel for Columbia's 3 main engines. And the solid rocket boosters, the largest ever used on any launch vehicle and the first to be employed in a U.S. manned flight. At liftoff, the solid rocket boosters, together with the 3 main engines, will unleash more than 6.5 million pounds of thrust needed to launch the world's first reusable spacecraft. Never before has a winged vehicle been launched like a rocket, orbited the Earth, returned through frictional heating in excess of 2,500 degrees, and landed, still aerodynamically sound, to be launched again and again. If it succeeds, the space shuttle will truly be a remarkable flying machine. There are many other goals to be reached during the 54.5-hour mission that lies ahead. 144 test objectives are planned for the flight. These objectives could not be achieved without an astronaut crew. The commander, John Young. The pilot, Robert Crippen. Young has already been in space 4 times for a total of 533 hours. He is the most experienced astronaut flying today. Although Crippen has over 4,000 hours of jet aircraft flying time, this will be his first time in space. The astronauts make their way across the access arm toward the shuttle in the pre-dawn hours before launch. An American spaceship has never carried a human crew on its maiden voyage. At the Launch Control Center, 3 miles from the pad, final steps are being completed in the countdown. Final preparations are also being made in the Mission Control Center in Houston, where control of the flight will switch once the shuttle clears the tower. There has not been a manned launch from Kennedy Space Center since the Apollo-Soyuz test project in July of 1975. With this launch, Young and Crippen, launch controllers at the Cape, and flight controllers in Houston will experience the most dynamic, fast-paced series of launch events ever undertaken in the space program, all in less than 9 minutes. The most challenging ascent profile ever to be flown by a space vehicle. Photographers, film and television crews, plus newspaper and magazine writers from around the world, nearly 2,700 of them are here to cover the launch. In addition, approximately 600,000 spectators line the coastal area near the Kennedy Space Center. Arriving by every mode of transportation, they have come from every state in the Union and many foreign countries. The promise of a rebirth in America's manned space program and the dawn of a new era in space transportation awaits.
14, 13, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We've gone for main engine start.
Roger, roll.
The roll will put the shuttle on its precise heading toward an imaginary target in space.
Roll program complete.
Roger, roll complete. Get a status. Vital. Go. Booster. Go. GNC. Go. Eagle. Go. Go at 40, Capcom. Columbia, Houston, you're go at 40.
The shuttle is now 40 seconds into flight.
Roger, Columbia, on the nice ride. You're lofting a little bit. You'll probably be slightly high at staging. Negative seats. Columbia, you're negative seats.
Should anything go wrong, the shuttle is now too high for the astronauts to use their ejection seats.
Columbia, you're go for SRB SEP.
We see SRB SEP flight.
Roger, on a SEP.
103, converge flight.
Vet, Capcom, let's tell them all the calls are going to be a tad early because of the hot first stage.
Columbia, you're looking a little hot. All your calls will be a little early.
Okay. And map looks good here. Stand by, press to Miko.
Columbia, stand by. Press to Miko.
Mark it.
Marked. Press for Miko.
Roger, press for Miko.
The shuttle can now continue toward Miko. Main engine cutoff.
They like your VAP, Eagle. Ecom.
Let's go, flight.
Capcom, VAPs go.
Stand by, negative return.
Columbia, stand by for negative return.
Mark it.
Marked. Negative return. And your VAP is good.
Outstanding. Sure is. We can confirm it. Oh, what a view. What a view. And single engine rotor flight.
And Columbia, your single engine rota.
Columbia can land safely at the Naval Air Station in Rota, Spain, even if 2 of the 3 main engines should fail. Right now, the engines are generating over 42 million horsepower.
Miko 25, 6,
Miko.
0, up at 220.
Roger, Miko.
And we got Miko confirmed.
Miko
Roger,
confirmed,
Columbia,
and it's
Miko.
right on the money, nominal.
Main engine cutoff. Columbia is now in space, traveling over 18,000 miles per hour.
Okay, we got set.
Roger, we confirm the step, Columbia.
The external tank has just been jettisoned and is now falling away from the shuttle back toward Earth. The tank will break up as planned over the Indian Ocean when it comes into contact with the atmosphere. Shortly, by firing the OMS, Orbital Maneuvering System engines, Columbia will achieve orbit. Then one of the most important tests of the mission will be attempted, opening the payload bay doors. The doors must be opened before the end of the 6th orbit to expose the space radiator cooling system. If the radiators cannot be exposed, heat collected from the onboard electronics cannot be released, and the astronauts will have to return home. The OMS burns are successful. Columbia is now in orbit, circling the Earth at an altitude of approximately 150 miles. The payload bay doors will now be opened.
Okay, the port door's coming open now.
Roger, copy.
Well, you are missing one fantastic sight. Boy, that is really beautiful out there.
We appreciate those updates.
Both doors have been opened. The radiators can be deployed to begin dissipating the heat.
The doors are all opened up and hunky-dory. Glad to deploy it right on time.
And the radiators look good.
Okay, we want to show you our own pods here. We do have a few tile missing off of both of them. Off of the starboard pod, 3 tile and some smaller pieces. And off the port pod, looks like I see one full square and looks like a few little triangular shapes that are missing. And we're trying to put that on TV right now.
Roger, Crip, we can see that good.
From what we can see of both wings, tops and leading edges, though, all those are fully intact.
Within minutes, an assessment is completed on the impact these missing tiles could have on the remainder of the mission. At a news conference later in the day, Flight Director Neil Hutchison answers questions from reporters.
But you asked me if I knew where there were any other tiles that might be loose. The answer is no. And quite frankly, we're not worried about any other tiles being loose.
At this writing, is there anything at all that would lead you to say you might not go for a full duration mission?
Nothing.
Columbia, Houston, you guys did so good, we're going to let you stay up there for a couple of days. Your gopher on orbit.
Spacecraft much GoPro on orbit. This thing is just performing just outstanding.
Roger, we agree with that. And Columbia, Houston, just for your information, you dropped those SRBs right on target, and they were floating just the way they ought to be, and the boats were getting ready to fish them and bring them back.
Okay. The ride that they gave us was pretty neat.
The solid rocket boosters, which separated from the Columbia as planned 2 minutes 11 seconds into the flight, landed on target in the Atlantic Ocean, 151 miles downrange from the launch site. After being towed back to Kennedy Space Center, both boosters will be refurbished and used again in a future shuttle flight. The third and fourth OMS burns are also successful, raising Columbia's orbit to an altitude of approximately 172 miles. For the first television transmission from inside the spacecraft, the crew will give a status report on the mission.
The flight so far has gone as smooth as it could possibly go. We've done every test that we're supposed to do, and we're up on the timeline, and the vehicle has just been performing beautifully, much better than anyone ever expected to do on a first flight, and no systems are out of shape. And it's delightful up here in zero gravity, might add. Of course, we owe this to a lot of people, and we certainly want to thank everyone who has helped get this thing airborne, and can take great pride in it's doing so well right now. Okay, we're switching over to the aft camera here. Yeah, I'd like to echo John's words as I usually do. I guess being the so-called rookie on this flight, I had a thrill from the moment of liftoff all the way up to what we're doing now. It's really been super. The spacecraft has worked as advertised all the way along. I think we've got something that's really going to mean something to the country and the world. This vehicle is performing like a champ, like all of us that have worked so long on it knew that you would.
Okay, sir, we appreciate those comments.
I guess that does it.
That was good timing. I think you must have practiced. We're just about to lose your ghost song.
Just accident.
Just accident, says Robert Crippen. None of the other events of the day have been accidental. Every test, liftoff, SRB separation and recovery, ET separation and impact, 4 OMS burns, payload bay door latch opening and closing tests, radiator latch deploy and stowing tests have all been successful.
I guess we owe you guys one super attaboy for today. This is fantastic. You worked through a pretty long, hard day, and you're essentially right on schedule, which is going to be close to being a first sort of spaceflight biz, I think, for first day activities. It's sure been fun working with you today, and we look forward to seeing you in the morning. I hope you get a good night's rest.
Okay, you guys did super work today. See you mañana.
Roger, thank you. See you tomorrow, guys.
Well, many hours went into this thing. A job well done by the shuttle space team. We can't say that she's sleek and lean, but I'll tell you right now, she's a mean machine. The Columbia, not the kind you smoke. This here's a bird.
Morning, Columbia. Welcome to day 2.
All right. Appreciate that super wake-up music this morning. Well, we sure enjoyed it. Missing a good breakfast.
Today, the astronauts will test onboard systems and also review procedures for tomorrow's landing. A test of the flight control system is conducted by John Young. The flight control system operates Columbia's aerosurfaces, the elevons, body flaps, rudder, and speed brake. These surfaces are useless in the vacuum of space, but will be essential tomorrow when the shuttle lands. This will require precision maneuverability, which the aerosurfaces provide. Payload bay door cycling tests help ensure that latching and closing procedures can also be done before entry tomorrow. As with every mission, many pictures of the Earth are taken by the astronauts. over 500 on this first shuttle flight. Active volcanoes, cloud formations, alluvial fans, giant whirlpools over 15 miles in diameter, sand dunes 1,500 feet high, running unbroken for hundreds of miles. The high Himalayas, where mountain peaks reach 24,000 feet. And one of the most remarkable space photographs ever taken of the Earth, an area in Iran exposed to wind erosion, which has resulted in these breathtaking silt and sandstone formations that look more like a painting than a desert. After lunch on the second day, the astronauts receive a phone call from the Vice President of the United States, George Bush.
How's it going up there? Everything rocking along all right?
Spaceship is just performing beautifully.
Well, it's great, and everybody views it, I'm sure, just as the forerunner of great things to come. I think your trip is just going to ignite the excitement and the forward thinking from this country, so I really just wanted to call up and wish you the very best.
We certainly appreciate it, Mr. Vice President.
The crew also don and check out the ejection suits they will wear during entry. Young, Crippen, and Columbia pass every test. They are ready for the final phase of the mission, entry and landing. April 14th, 1981. NASA's Dryden Flight Research Center on the edge of Rogers Dry Lake Bed in California. A recovery convoy of 24 vehicles and more than 100 personnel are assembling here to power down Columbia after landing. Enormous crowds are also beginning to arrive. A string of traffic 6 miles long waits to enter the base. Thousands more are already here. Close to 500,000 people will eventually be on hand to see the landing. On board, the astronauts suit up for entry. The ascent and orbital phases of the mission have gone extremely well. Now the final phase must be completed. Before that begins,
Columbia, you have a go for payload bay door closing.
the doors, which have been open a total of 47 hours during the flight, must now be closed. Then, using the RCS thrusters, Columbia will maneuver into deorbit burn attitude, head down and backwards, fire the OMS engines one last time, and descend into the Earth's atmosphere.
Nice and easy does it, John. We're all riding with you.
Columbia is out of contact during the OMS burn. Mission Control will not know if this burn was successful until they are in communication with the spacecraft over Australia. It is now over the Indian Ocean on the other side of the world, but from that distance the burn must be precise so that later Columbia will hit the lake bed target in California.
Columbia, this is Houston through Yargady. We're standing by.
Burn was on time at nominal residual 110.
Columbia is now committed to entry. With an RCS post-burn maneuver and several firings, it is oriented to a heads-up, nose-first attitude headed toward entry interface. This is where the atmosphere begins, at approximately 400,000 feet. From that moment until the shuttle reaches 165,000 feet, it will be in communication blackout, out of touch with mission control for almost 20 minutes. The landing site is almost 4,400 miles from entry interface. Chase planes are preparing to take off. One will call out altitudes and check Columbia for any damage just prior to landing. When the shuttle touches down here, it will be traveling at 216 miles per hour. Right now it's going more than 17,000 miles per hour. Before it lands, it must slow down, lose energy. and it must survive the intense heat caused by traveling through the atmosphere at such a high rate of speed. Several S-turns, or roll reversals, are used to slow down and maneuver Columbia through the atmosphere. This one is done at 256,000 feet, when it is traveling at more than 26 times the speed of sound. This one is done at 208,000 feet. During these two roll reversals, entry heating is most severe, with temperatures reaching 2,500 degrees some places on the vehicle. The aluminum skin will melt at 320 degrees. The silicate tiles must insulate the vehicle from the tremendous heat. Since there is no test facility on Earth to simulate the aerodynamic and structural environment Columbia is in right now, only calculations could be used to predict what would happen during this phase of the flight. The predictions and calculations had to be right.
Hello there, Houston, Columbia's here.
Hello, Columbia, Houston's here. How do you read?
Plan clear, and we're doing Mach 10.3 at 180 AS.
And we couldn't agree more, John. Your state vector's good. We've got good data in-house.
Okay.
The entry trajectory, velocity, and position look good. Columbia is heading for home, now only 470 miles away.
More left RCS, but okay.
Right, we're showing a roll.
And, John, we're showing you rolling right. Looking good.
Right, normal roll.
We're showing him crossing the coastline flag.
Columbia, we show you crossing the coast now.
Right, yeah. We can come.
The shuttle is first sighted at about 100,000 feet with a long-range camera from Anderson Peak, California.
What a way to come to California.
In flight, Fido, I still look perfect, right on the nominal.
Roger that. Out of 112K, 4.8 Mach.
We'll see if that's in a row.
We see Delaz 21 degrees.
A roll reversal is done over Bakersfield, California.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Chase has a tally.
Roger, checking.
And we're seeing 1.3 Gs coming around the hat.
Roger that.
The astronauts are making the final turn to line up with the runway.
Columbia, you're really looking good. Right on the money. Right on the money. And turning on to final, your winds on the surface are calm.
I got a win.
You're right on the glide slope, Columbia.
Yeah, clear, John.
Looks real good underneath. Everything looks real good.
Chase reports no tile or other damages evident underneath the shuttle. Columbia's altitude is now just over 5,000 feet.
Pretty clear.
Without power, Columbia must land. It cannot make another attempt.
They're coming. They're down. Feet. 40, 30, 20, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, touchdown. Those gears, come. 5, 4, 3, touchdown. Welcome home, skipper.
Houston, Columbia's on the roll.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful.
You want us to take it up in the hangar, Joe?
We're going to dust it off first.
This is the world's greatest all-electric flying machine, I'll tell you that. It was super.
Okay, convoy's on its way.
Convoy on. We'll stop on the Columbia. We'll stop.
The maiden voyage of Columbia has been a success. The astronauts and the vehicle have met or exceeded all 144 flight test objectives. The integrity of all the systems, propulsion, avionics, structural, flight control, power, and thermal, have been affirmed. John Young's comments after returning home.
I can't tell you what a tribute that is to the American working man and the American working woman, too. You can't imagine the variety of people who worked on this vehicle, from all walks of life, all capabilities and limitations. It's all due to their individual efforts. They proved that they can do the job. They proved it for the world to see. And I'm mighty proud to be associated with folks like that.
What a tribute indeed. The Columbia represents an achievement in aerospace technology and development never before realized in the history of manned spaceflight. It is our basic building block for the future.
It's what we've been trying to do for the last 10 years. We've got a vehicle with a payload performance that will allow us to do that, much cheaper than we've been able to do it before. It will immeasurably improve the defensive capability of the country. It will help develop space science and technology. When we get operational, the space shuttle will be able to do in 5 to 10 years what it would have taken us 20 to 30 years to do otherwise. We couldn't do it if we didn't have the space shuttle and that payload capability. And the sooner we do those things, the better off the country's going to be.
A revolutionary new era in space transportation has just begun.
Should have listened to John, huh?
Routine access to space. Welcome to the future.
There's that pen flip. Crazy that this was no match for a piece of foam. Well, Joe, if you really want to know what happened with the foam, it's not that simple. It never is. So that external tank, dude, the STS-107 mission actually scrubbed like 4 or 5 times. I forget how many times it was, but actually, if you cast your mind back to the Artemis 1 mission, a lot of the press conferences for the Artemis 1 mission, like in the wet dress rehearsals and the core stage green run, basically all the testing criteria that led up to the Artemis 1 mission, the press corps always asked the question that was like, how many times can you fill up the the core tank with fuel before it starts to be a problem? And they said, well, it can take this many times. Now, there is a reason why they asked that question. The reason why they asked that question has a lot to do with STS-107. Because it wasn't really the foam that was causing the problem, right? And this is fault tree analysis, right? They thought that the foam wasn't applied correctly on STS-107, right? And they were like, oh, that's the problem. Actually, the first thing they said is foam wouldn't be able to do that. But turns out when you shoot something out at the speed of a shotgun slug at anything, it's going to break it, right? Actually, way faster than that, but that's another story. So they proved that the foam could actually pierce the thermal protection systems. They're like, okay, maybe they didn't apply it right. Nope, it was applied correctly. The problem was that 107 scrubbed a bunch of times. And when you take an external tank that's not designed to be reused and reuse it a bunch of times by tanking and detanking and tanking and detanking and tanking and detanking the thing over and over and over again, that expansion and contraction contraction when it's tanked, expansion when it's detanked, causes cracks in the foam. And those cracks probably should have been checked, but somebody said, nope, it's fine. And there you go. There's your problem. So the foam is actually not the biggest problem. Turns out when you try to reuse an external tank, which is not designed to be reused, it becomes a problem, right? And we did see cracking on the core stage with the foam, but it's an expendable launch vehicle, so it doesn't really matter. Can you quote the entire video? Yeah. I know, just oversimplified it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Okay, so yeah, you know. I was kind of more saying for everybody else's benefit, but yeah, it sucks, man. It's a great vehicle. I don't care what anybody says. The shuttle is an amazing machine. Still, to this day, I'm not changing my mind. Maybe until the day that thing moves people and cargo into space routinely, or at least on a frequency of, like that the shuttle does, or that the shuttle did. Then maybe. But that it is an awesome machine. It's just nutso to me what this thing actually could do. Right? Like, dude, look at that thing. Should have used 301 stainless. Yeah. Been working on a cyberpunk scene in Blender. Phil, I saw you post the links. I'm going to need them one more time. Now that looks good, Lunprod. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for the context. Never knew about Columbia. Well, Thunderbolt, the shuttle is really my first love. It's because that's the vehicle that, like, in terms of space flight. I mean, I love the space shuttle. Yeah, no, don't read too much into that. I know people on the internet are thirsty. Y'all are sick. Y'all are sick. Keep it to yourself. No. That was the first spacecraft that I was like, this is awesome. I love aerospace engineering. I love it. I love everything about it, right? So I know a ton about the thing. Like, like the viewers that have been watching me for a long time know that really my KSP career started getting really big because I only made space shuttles. All right, Phil, let me compile the links, my friend. Freudian slip there? Yeah, oh yeah. He went to college hoping to build shuttles one day and they canceled the program, Sag. Yeah. Well, you got stuff like Dream Chaser coming in the pipe, so that's pretty cool. But, dude, I remember Panel Shuttle. Do you? Nah, what's that? You know, Joe, the more and more I read about this machine, the more and more I'm just fascinated by it. It is frankly ridiculous that they got this right on the first try. That shows the cut of the jib of the engineers that made this thing. It is unfreaking real that they got it to do that on the first try. That is an insane piece of engineering. Like, the design is just so ridiculously well thought out. That's what gets me. It's so damn smart. Just the way the wing leading edge has RCC in certain spots to take the hypersonic shock from the nose cone, and the nose cone is the way the nose cone is shaped to distribute and push away the hypersonic boundary layer and stuff. Dude, it is on another level. Like, anybody that says, oh, this thing's a piece of junk, they have no idea what they're talking about. No idea. It's an impressive machine. Was the shuttle ahead of its time? Way ahead of its time, John. Way ahead of its time. It is an amazing piece of equipment. It'd be impressive today. I agree with you on that one, Aqualex. Yeah, it's a remarkable flying machine. It really is. Like, I don't have words. Like, the more I understand how this thing works, the more I'm just like, how does this even stay together? It's really it's an amazing symphony of material science, mechanical engineering, and aerospace engineering. Space shuttle question. Were the ejector seats on the first STS flights able to be installed back into the vehicle if they wanted to? I think so. I think you could if you wanted to see Kraken, but yeah, there's no point, dude. The ejector seats were basically the ejector seats were there basically if something went wrong in the first like 40 seconds of flight. Past 40 seconds, the ejector seat will kill you. I would honestly prefer to go down with the ship. Have you ever watched this doc? Another amazing aerospace one. Let me see. What's this one? Oh, Concorde. No, I haven't seen it, but the Concorde got shuttled too. Yeah, it's just like on the Gemini capsule, guys. The ejector seats were basically useless after, I don't know, 30 seconds. Basically useless. You're going way too high and you're going way too fast. You'll go to eject, and you will immediately just hit the side of the vehicle. There's no getting around that. Like, but see, people look at that and say, "Wow, there's no escape system. That's so stupid." But the thing is that the shuttle, if you look at the shuttle more like an airplane, like what it was intended to do, like just go up and come right back down, then it makes a lot more sense. The frequency of flight is what's going to be the reliability, or the safety there. The safety through reliability. That was the idea. But in order to do that, in order to get the shuttle, the immense development cost of that thing down, right? And in order to justify having the whole supply chain set up to keep the program going, you got to launch a lot. It's like Falcon 9. The Falcon 9 is actually doing what the shuttle was supposed to do. I tell people that all the time. This is what the shuttle was supposed to be doing. It was supposed to be launching sub 4 day. That's what they were supposed to do. That would have required a huge ramp up in launches. And they were building to that ramp, which is actually pretty damn cool. Not a lot of people know that the shuttle in 1985, before, in the year leading up to Challenger, right? The shuttle launched 9 times in 1985. 9 times. That's almost once a month. That's a pretty damn good ramp up, considering that STS-1 was in 1981. STS-2 was in 1982. STS-3 was in 1982. STS-4, the last OFT mission, was in late 1983. Like, going from maybe once or twice a year to 9 times a year in less than 5 years that's pretty impressive for any launch vehicle. And not to mention that this launch vehicle is the most complicated. You have people aboard, so that already adds a factor of complication, and then you have cargo on top of that. Like, it is pretty damn impressive. When will SLS fly on that cadence? Never. No point in having an escape system if the environment you escape to is as dangerous as the place that you're in. Yeah, there you go. Yep. I'm amazed at how the crew cabin can have the crew cabin as escape in an emergency. That really wasn't intended to be that way, John, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you really hit the shuttle with scale, like launching it a lot, yeah, of course, it could be cheaper than Falcon 9, like way cheaper. You get your upper stage engines back. All your propulsion systems you get back. The only one you don't get back is a fuel tank. They could have done a pod-style ejection system, but that's still assuming you have time to make that decision. Guys, I've seen a lot of people float around the Shuttle 2 concept. The Shuttle 2 concept has an ejectable... It has like an ejectable crew tank and stuff, and, these crazy side boosters and whatnot. Like this thing. I'm telling you right now, that is a death trap. More people would die on this if you flew it on the same frequency as the actual space shuttle. Why is that? You're adding complication. That is complicated. This is complication that's already on a complicated vehicle. That, I will tell you, that's a death trap. That would get somebody killed more than the shuttle. It's you're taking the idea of the shuttle, which is already complicated, and making it more complicated. That's not a good idea. You guys, I mean, once again, people are looking at it like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, you know that thing does that, right? That's a little more complicated than payload bay doors, don't you think? Look at Vostok 1, yeah, right. You just hate canards. They're not canards, they're winglets. They're winglets. No, I honestly think adding all that complication of it to an escape system that's only going to be useful for 30 to 40 seconds is stupid. That's a really dumb idea. Don't you think it would be better to maybe, oh, I don't know, like, I'll just give you an example, like eject the whole orbiter off of the stack? Maybe? Or even better yet, how about we just make sure it works? Like, how about we just make sure it works? No? No? Now, I understand that's not an easy thing to do with aerospace engineering. But the thing about it is, if you go back to both of the shuttle missions, that didn't come home. If you go back to both of those shuttle missions, you go back to Challenger and Columbia, both of those were managerial decisions that caused that problem. I still think that the shuttle is a great design. It turns out that if you don't design something to launch something in the cold, and then you launch it in the cold, and when it's windy, you're going to have some bad problems. Ironically, it's like Chernobyl. It turns out when you have all these safety systems built into a nuclear power plant, and then some idiot comes in and says, no, we need to test that it works under failing conditions, and puts the reactor into a failure mode, and then it fails. I don't know why people are surprised. Like, obviously, if you take all the safety systems off, of course it's going to fail. That's why the safety systems are there. But, Murphy's Law and all, Whatever happened to Skylon? No idea. It did work, but it did not burn down risks, or their acceptable risks were not understood, or not well understood or modeled. Yep. Yeah, Rocky Guy, like, that's the thing. I mean, that's the flip side of that. They knew that SRB problem on Challenger would happen. They knew that was a thing. And it made it into space, and they literally Jebediah Kerman did. They looked at it and said, nah, that's fine. It works. You know how I always have that saying that's like, well, if you want your rocket to work correctly, you want your explosion to come out the bottom and not out the sides? Yeah, there's a very good reason for that. Because they were launching shuttles, and some of the explosion was coming out of the side casing of the SRB, and they said, that's fine, whatever. That's fine. It's okay. It's fine. It worked, right? It worked. It worked. Look, it worked just fine. Launch another one. Like, okay. And, it's not even that you don't discover new things when you launch something. When you launch something, it's like, oh, man, I did not see that coming. That's really cool that it does that. That's really cool. That's a great fail-safe system. Even when you see something like that, and granted, I do have the benefit of Challenger's, Challenger, the Rogers Commission, which is the accident investigation thing for Challenger, that, if you look at it and said, oh, sweet, this is a great failsafe, and then you just say, nah, it's fine, and then you don't actually test that failsafe and put it to the limit and do some analysis on it, which they didn't, and that's what Rocket Guy means about not being understood or not well modeled, right? You're going to get a launch condition where it's too cold, the O-ring's going to fail, but it's also too windy. That's what a lot of people don't know about Challenger. Everyone knows about the O-rings. Everybody knows about the cold. What nobody takes into account is that it was too windy that day. The Challenger stack, the telemetry recorders in mission control, when Challenger launched, 70 seconds into the mission at maximum dynamic pressure, or 65 or 66 seconds into the mission, the stack recorded the highest wind shear ever recorded on any stack at KSC ever. And that wind shear is what caused the SRB O-ring to basically detach. Like, two SRB segments to basically detach. Because, oh great, the O-rings basically fail and the SRBs weld themselves together. That's basically what was going on. That welded connection, not very strong, so if it gets hit by wind, it cracks. Interesting, right? Like, everybody knows about the O-rings. Nobody knows that it was too windy that day. And that's what I mean, not well, that's what Rocket Guy means, right? Not me. That's what Rocket Guy means when he says not well understood or not well modeled. You understood that there's a failure mode here, but you said it's fine. You didn't go look, you didn't read anything into it because, oh, we got to launch more. It's like, okay. And Challenger would have been fine, too, even with the O-ring failure, but then flying the thing outside of its intended flight envelope broke the self-seal. Bingo. The aluminum in the propellant melted, and the molten aluminum would self-seal in the event of a blow-by in the original design. And you know what, Rocky God? That's a pretty damn good fail-safe. Like, that's actually pretty smart. It's pretty smart to have it fail like that, but the thing is, Rocky, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, you shouldn't be satisfied with your thing that you launch failing. Like, it's not supposed to do that. Whatever. It's good. Everything's fine, you know? Like, no. That's not how you space flight. Yannick, we have closures for 21st through the 23rd in Boca. Yep. Anyway, yeah, a little bit on the shuttle. If you guys have questions about the shuttle or anything, I know a pretty damn good amount about that vehicle. People always try to push the limit until it fails. Individually, that's bad, but overall, that's how you learn things. It's probably just better to not have humans on board. Well, uncrewed testing definitely could have made the shuttle a lot more reliable, maybe? I don't know. You could do more testing. Aqualex, it's not nearly as simple as just, oh, the crew tank goes away, let's put a parachute on the crew tank. That's... I think that's about as useless as putting like parachutes on a 737's flight deck. That's just... With the frequency of flight, those escape systems become a liability. Understand? That's why I say the Shuttle 2 was a death trap. More than the original shuttle. Favorite shuttle version and why? I like Challenger the best, 415. That's not just because we lost it. I like Challenger because Challenger was Shuttle 1.1. Challenger to Columbia is what Falcon 9 1.0 is to Falcon 9 1.1. Columbia being Falcon 9 1.0, Challenger being Falcon 9 1.1. Challenger had way less tiles, it was way lighter, and it could move way more payload into space. Challenger was built based off of what they learned from STS 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is awesome. That's really cool. All subsequent orbiter designs, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour, were all built off of Challenger's design, not Columbia's. Columbia, or that Shuttle 1.0 design, there's two orbiters that were built like that, Columbia and Enterprise, and that's it. That means the O-ring never met the design requirements set forth by NASA. Thiokol did not verify or was not forthcoming at higher levels of this shortcoming. Then the engineers tried to say something and were shut down. That's awful. It's such a... Raka, that's what's so frustrating about it. Like, you know, I don't mean to, you know, undermine the loss of 7 lives, right? But what an idiotic decision. Like, and I get it. We have the benefit of hindsight. Like, I understand. But yeah, it's so stupid. Ark, did you see the Air Force is going to build a blended wing body prototype? Yeah, I think we should, maybe we should jump into that. Where is it? I thought I had the thread somewhere around here. Phil, I have all of your links. Columbia walks, a Challenger could run. Yep. Hey, not saying it's simple, but a balloon shoots wouldn't mess with the structure, ops, or aero. I don't know how you could be so confident in that. I mean, maybe, but that's just more things to test. I'd prefer to work on making the, like, over-engineering the shuttle. Basically doing what, like, I don't mean to be like, well, SpaceX does this. No, doing what they did with Raptors. The shuttle engines, for instance, should have been on the same testing regime as the Raptor. right? Frick this. Oh, well, we don't have the money to do this efficient test. Like, okay, do you want a rocket engine that you can reuse, or do you want something that needs to be taken apart every time, right? Like, it's that nickel and diming stuff. Like, that's just super annoying. I think that would be a much better way to go about making the shuttle safer. Maybe, like, making sure your engines don't fail. Like, I know that's super easy for me to say. I'm not an engineer. I get it. But you can't say that. You can't say in the same breath that taking apart the engine every time. I would actually contend to say that in Bill Gerstenmaier, who was an engineer on the shuttle program for a long time, he works at SpaceX now on Starship. I think it's on Starship. He said that taking apart the engines and putting them back together actually probably made the shuttle less reliable. Go figure. All right, let's start off space news here. Yeah, there you go, Synerd. I think he works on crew stuff in general. That sounds right. I could have sworn it was Starship, but I think he's doing Dragon operations too. You know why he's doing Dragon operations, Core? It's because they're doing with Dragon and Falcon what they wanted to do with the space shuttle. Why do you think so many ex-shuttle engineers all went to work for SpaceX? It's so stupid when you think about it. He took Hans's job. Yeah. Director of Launch Operations, then, is his name. Here is his title. Yeah. Gerst is smart. One of the smartest engineers around, dude. Vice President of Flight Reliability. Phil, and you know what sucks? You know what really sucks? They could have, like, seeing what Gerst is doing at SpaceX and hitting sub 4 day launch count cadence. All that tells me is that the personnel and the talent was there and they had their hands tied at NASA. That's what that tells me, which, damn it. Just reinforces my theory that the shuttle is not as bad a design as everybody says it is. It's actually a god-tier piece of equipment. Like a god-tier piece of equipment. That thing is amazing. It's such a good design. Can you imagine? Oh boy. Anyway, rant over. Let's go. So, this is coming from the Air Force. Breaking news! Good news, everyone! The U.S. Air Force has selected Jet Zero to build and test a full-scale blended wing-body prototype made of diamondium. No, Farnsworth, they should have made it out of diamondium. Lundstrom. Farnsworth. Shuttle good, bureaucracy bad. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, blended wing body. Boop. Let's see what we got. That looks a lot like the K-90, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Who's Jet Zero? I don't know. Should have made it out of Zoidbergium. Yes, I tell you. Why not zirconium? Yes, that is the best. The effort aims to mature blended wing body technology and demonstrate its capabilities, giving the department and commercial industry more options for future air platforms. With a design that differs from a traditional tube and wing aircraft, tube. The blended wing body blends the aircraft body into its high aspect ratio wing, decreasing aerodynamic drag by at least 30% and providing additional lift. This increased efficiency will enable extended range, more loiter time, and more loiter time and increased payload delivery efficiencies and capabilities that are vital to mitigating logistics risks. I gotta say, it looks pretty sweet. I hope it gets made. Well, yeah. Blended wing-body aircraft have the potential to significantly reduce fuel demand and increase global reach. Moving forces and cargo quickly and efficiently over long distance is a critical capability to enable national security strategy. I'm reading through this. Interesting. What? Okay. I don't feel like losing brain cells today. I'm not reading the comments. So Jet Zero, about you. Jet Zero was founded by aviation pioneers who invented the original blended wing body. Since its founding, the Jet Zero team has grown to include aerospace engineers from across the sector and advisors from industry-leading manufacturers and airlines. Tanker or AWACS, I don't know. Dick Johnson. It looks like it's no bigger than like maybe a 777. Dude. Look at that. Look at the interior, huh? That's kind of cool. Wide body, am I right? And look at where the cargo is. The cargo is on the sides. It's not underneath. It's on the sides of the plane. It's freaking K90, dude. Yeah, less community noise. Mounting the engines on the top results in much less noise. In fact, the surrounding community, it sounds 4 times as far away. Yeah. Freighter, tanker, jetliner. All right. Doom. Oh, what is this? Oh no. What that link though, dude. Oh, you're killing me. Wait, it copied your freaking. All right. There we go. This looks so much like the Flying V concept they studied over here at TU Delft together with KLM. Tons of research. Yeah. Neat. It's a cool looking plane. Sorry about that. Hey, it's all good. Didn't the Germans make a blended wing passenger plane? The Horton brothers did, Eddie. Yeah, they had the Horton 229. They only made 4 of them. 3 of them were prototypes. There's one remaining one. It's at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. I've seen it. Cool plane. However, they weren't the first ones. They weren't the first ones to make a flying wing. Jack Northrop was. Yeah, the YB-35. If I'm remembering right, the YB-35. Right? Actually, no. The Horton brothers were slightly before Jack Northrop was. Yeah, look. Here, look at it. Look at this thing. Whoop. Cool, huh? Neato. He made the flying wing the focus of his work during the 1930s. Yeah, see? Yeah, interesting. And then he made the YB-49, which is a jet version of the same thing. Look at that thing. I might have been thinking of the G38 and exactly blended wing. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Airbus is working on that. It seems like it's interesting that they awarded a contract to like this company. I don't know too well, but look at, oh man, that thing is cool. Definitely cool looking. Here's the whole lineup that was announced. You know, it'd be really good if my mouse could actually go over there. Can KSP make wingtip thrust? Negative. KSP does not do that, no.
Discovery, go and
Padre, happy streaming. Thanks, buddy. Get this the hell off my screen. That's cool. Yeah, blended wings, man. Hydrogen. Interesting. That's cool. They got special permission, Edmund. That's neat. This is part of their green initiative. Sweet. I like that one. I like this one. That one's cool. Blended wings are really, really neat. You know, like I said, we're working on a gigantic blended wing in Kerbal 1 right now. Ours flies into space, though. What's the difference between a turbofan and a turboprop? A turbofan uses a jet engine to rotate a ducted fan. A turboprop uses a jet engine to rotate a propeller. Also the name. The only downside of blended wings is that they have a lower top speed, but are a lot more efficient. When you're staying subsonic, Core, yeah, absolutely. So in layman's terms, one is enclosed. No. The propeller is not a fan. Two different things. Propeller implies that the blades can move. With a ducted fan is really the important part. That's why, I mean, the fins on those things don't really move. And they're inside of a cowl. The cylindric thing that makes it look like a jet engine. But, you know, and there are things out there of having a turbofan with variable pitch. That's just a really, really difficult problem to solve. First flying wing. That's cool. There you go. Yeah. The airlines have been caring more about efficiency over speed for about 50 years now. You know, here's the thing. I understand, and I like this. I'm saying this as somebody that likes blended wings. I think blended wings look awesome. That's a really cool looking plane. However, airlines prioritizing efficiency over speed is really, I'm not going to say it's boring, because I know it's more complicated than that, but also the 12-year-old me wants a plane that goes like Mach 5 that can get to the UK in like an hour. You know? I understand the efficiency, etc., but man, is it boring. It's a little boring. Like, I like that this is kind of where we're going with it. This is neat, you know, but I want more stuff like Concorde and stuff, man. I'm sorry, Animal. Your last got buried in a sea of links. I can't find it. It makes sense that a company like this coming out of the blue is made by the people that have been in the industry for a long while, so they have connections to make it happen. Yeah. With modern tech, you can have both. Oh, yeah? Let's go to the airport right now. Watch the planes coming in. Oh, wait, they all look exactly the same. I understand there's stuff like Boom, and there's stuff like, what's the other company that wants to do the compression lift? Okay, Future Tech. I thought blended wings would need new ground infrastructure. No, apparently not if you build them small enough. New efficient planes are so boring. Like, don't get me wrong, getting the fuel efficiency is cool. That's cool, being efficient like that and using less fuel to go further. That's awesome. However, faster is nice too. Since you're talking about planes and light planes, what do you think of the Titan airplane idea? Titan airplane. What? I don't understand what this is, Timast. Is this what you're talking about? I googled it and this is what pops up. That thing? It's a lot like Star Raker. A low-cost flying boat mission with a focus on atmospheric and lacustrine science could target specific important questions that remain untargeted by any current funded or planned Titan mission. It's an airplane that flies on Titan. Okay. That's cool. That looks remarkably like a Victory bomber. Yeah, it does. Neat. Oh, it's a flying boat for Titan. That's cool. Neato burrito. Anyway, let's get back to let's see what else we got here. So there is good news coming out of Kennedy Space Center. That's pretty neat. Check this out. This is coming from NASA EGS here, Exploration Ground Systems. Mobile Launcher 1 has completed its upgrades and fixing it based off of the Artemis 1 mission, right? It damaged it a little bit. They had to take the thing apart and put it back together and then upgraded a couple of things to make sure it doesn't get damaged again. Today, NASA is rolling the thing to the pad. They're rolling the mobile launcher to the pad to test all the systems. If the tests prove, if the tests are good, right, and everything that they upgraded works correctly, then I'm pretty sure the next step for this guy is going inside of High Bay 3 and having the Artemis 2 stack start to be made on top of it, which is pretty cool. Is nuclear fusion a good idea? Is nuclear fusion a good for clean plane propulsion, or is it only low thrust? Nuclear fusion. What? What? Hey, it was only the end of last year, man. Damn. The first piece of ML2 is in place. Very good. I think he means Nerva. That's not that. Gotta be honest, I don't think there's a Starlink tonight. I was without power for 3 hours, and my biking to the store looked like this. Oy. That's a lot of water. Yeah, Doom, we'll make some big stuff. I really need those editor controls. Dude, I need the editor controls. The game isn't even that glitchy anymore. It's the editor controls. I don't have my build. I'm not as articulate inside of the editor in KSP2 as I am in KSP1. Like, you've seen what we can do in KSP1. Like, I need those better camera controls, and I need absolute snap. Once that stuff starts getting in, dude, then if they gotta put KSP1 editor controls in, combined with a lot of the features from the KSP2 editor, like focusing on a part, orthographic views. I get those in there, I'm good. We can start doing crazy stuff in KSP2. But yeah, I till then it's really hard to build stuff. No, there's no absolute snap, Joe. Can you focus on an odd tag or something in Gizmo around it? No, Aqualex, you can't, because the second you rotate your view, it focuses, the camera returns to origin. Trust me, I just spent a good 2 hours in the KSP2 editor and then flying around in KSP2. The flying part seems fine. Like, it's the editor. The editor is really hard. I guess it's tough for me because I know what I can do in KSP1 and I know what we can do in KSP1. And if I had what we can do in KSP1, I would be building insane stuff in KSP2 right now. Like, the editor controls are what's kind of the reason why I didn't do Star Raker in KSP2. That's kind of one of the big reasons, you know? Yeah, Podway, I'm giving it as best as I can, but I haven't played lately, so I haven't been giving much feedback lately, which probably is not a good thing, but anyway. You still have your bug report notebook? Absolutely, man. It's right on my desk. So, yeah, we'll go. Anyway. Did you shoot them a message about the controls? No, but I'm not just going to shoot them a message willy-nilly, Doom. I'll probably write something up. Something that gives better feedback. Instead of just saying, oh, the editor controls are broken. Or I don't like this. Once again, I believe in being thorough. You know that. So I'm going to be thorough in my report as well. So anyway. Yeah. ML1 is rolling back to the pad today for testing, which is great. Because pretty much the next step after this, if I'm understanding this right, is start stacking the next one. So that's really good. That's a good thing. Yeah, it's coming along, man. And I know somebody asked, well, why can't they upgrade this for Block 1B? They can't upgrade it for Block 1B because this mobile launcher was designed for Ares 1. It was originally built for a rocket that was nowhere near as heavy as SLS Block 1B. They reused it, which is... all right. A new mobile launcher needs to be made to accommodate the heavier rocket. You cannot import old designs, officer, no.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
No backwards compatibility. Hey, Eisenhower, 42-month resub. Thank you. With that being said, guys, a little ways down the road from this, they started working on SLS Block 1B's mobile launcher. They started building another one of these, which is great. That new one has the reinforcements for it already built in, which is excellent. When will this be used? Mobile Launcher 1, ML1 to master, will be used for the Artemis 2 mission. Mobile Launcher 2, ML2, with Block 1B, is set for a launch right now, probably sometime in 2026, 2027. Yeah, I know, the timeline sucks. I get it. They're going slow. Turns out, when you don't give them the funding they need, they go slow. But, to be honest with you, Artemis 2 is right around the corner. Artemis 2 is, we're about 16 months out, which is not a lot of, that's not a lot of time in spaceflight. That's really, like, you gotta hurry up. Do you think ML1 is going to be leased to SpaceX for Starship? No, absolutely not. 26, 27, those aren't real years. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Phil, you know, hey, this is what I mean about having a politician run NASA. If you have a politician run NASA and a politician that really, really wants to fight for space, stuff's going to get done. There was a NASA town hall a little while back where everyone was like, why the heck is ML2 taking so long, right? And Bill called out the contractor, Bechtel, by name. And he was like, look, I know them. I'm going to go over there and the heads are going to roll. And that's exactly what happened. That was like 5 or 6 months ago. And then all of a sudden, the ML parts start showing up. Funny how that works. So, hey, having a guy in there that's willing to make heads roll, that's fine. That's fine with me. Surely they won't just park it outside in the rain after Artemis 3 and forget about it for 20 years. What's the top speed on the mobile launchers? 5 miles an hour? No. That's way too fast. That's way too fast in house. I think unladen, it's about 2 miles an hour. With a fully stacked SLS on it, not 0.5. Yeah, 0.5 miles an hour. Hey, man. It's 8 million pounds. What the heck do you expect? Hey, moving 8 million pounds at half a mile an hour is pretty damn good considering what it is, okay? It's pretty damn good, man. Don't give me that face. I can feel your face through the damn computer. That's fast for what it is, man. You ever walked on one of these things? They're freaking huge. It's like bigger than an oil rig, man. What's the miles per gallon on the crawler? No. The crawler, you get miles per gallon. Aren't they using diesel locomotive engines? Yes. The crawler transporter, the thing that literally goes underneath the ML, picks it up and moves it to the pad. It has 2 Alco 245 diesel engines in them. There's 2 of them, and they both have twin turbo diesel locomotive engines. And they're American locomotive engines, which is kick butt, dude. Alco is my favorite. EMD is in a close second. So you're saying we should LS swap it. I'm saying these... No. I'm not saying... No. An LS does not generate enough power. Or should I say, enough energy. It does not generate enough energy to move an 8 million pound rocket. Actually, the rocket is only 8 million pounds, to be honest with you guys. SLS, fully fueled, like the SRBs, like fully stacked, fully fueled SRBs, with the mobile launcher on top of it, is about 15 million pounds. Yeah. $7 million tons. Yeah. 7 million. Okay. Did you go to space camp as a kid? No, I wanted to, though, Atomic. My thing about space, dude, when I was younger, I've always wanted to do space. I want to do space. No, I've always wanted to, like, dude, I've always liked space as far back as I can remember. And, you know, when I was, like, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, man, this is, like, the late 90s, early 2000s. Video games were my freaking life. Funny how that works. I didn't see this coming, right? Video games were my life, and I was focused on that, and I was like, I like video games so much. Screw schoolwork. I don't need to do that. I'm not smart enough for it anyway. Yeah, it turns out when you write yourself off like that, everyone else does too. Yeah. Oops. It was only until after college when I graduated college, right, with a computer animation degree for working on video games, that I was like, wait a minute, if I can work a CAD system, I'm probably smart enough to figure this out. So that's what I've been doing since. It's working for me pretty good. Yeah, 7,500 tons. I said 7 million. Excuse me. I didn't carry the 1 over. See what I mean about being bad at math? Maybe I wasn't lying to myself, but you get the idea. Merlin swap. Imagine this thing sounded like a bomber formation in the area, just no Doppler shift. What? Yeah, it turns out when you write off learning math and then don't learn math, turns out you're bad at math. Shocking revelation. Yeah. See what I mean? Can we make a nuclear crawler even just for fun? Sure. I don't see why you'd want to do that, but I always struggled with certain things at school and thought I was just dumb, but at university I was diagnosed with dyslexia. Yeah, there you go. No, that's this one. Know what? Instead of the alcohol diesels, you replace them with the same amount of power of Merlin engines. I don't need a rocket-powered crawler to move a rocket. That's probably not a good idea. The crawler engine. So it's an Alco 251, Sebi, which is a variant of a 244. But, you know, whatever. What you said is right. It makes sense why I had to retake my English GCSE. But yeah, Dragon, like that's not an, like, having dyslexia or being distracted by video games all day is not an excuse to not get a good education, all right? It is certainly a, like, I hear this from people with, like, ADD and ADHD all the time. And, you know, I'm not saying it's not real, because from what I can tell, it seems like that is, like, you know, it's like someone's changing the channel in your head every 5 seconds. That would piss me off. I would get very upset. And it seems like that's the case, right? Like, I put yourself in his shoes, just someone changing the subject. Like, I'd assume it's like when chat changes the subject all the time, right? It gets very hard to keep track of. If your entire life is like that, oh my goodness. But, see, here's the thing. That's not an excuse for you not getting a good education. That is, it's something that you learn about yourself, right? Right? That's something you should learn. You should accept and understand it. That you know, it's a name to what's going on. But you shouldn't let it impede you. You know what I mean? You shouldn't let that impede you. That's what I mean. Don't make it your excuse for everything. It's just a not a justification. It's just a thing that happens, right? Like, it's a thing that you got to live with. And that sucks. It's really, I'm sure that, like I said, if it's anything like having, like, keeping 5 or 6 conversations in chat all at once, all the time, I would slam my head into a wall constantly. I'd be like, I hate this, you know, like, I get it. I understand. But, you know, that's not, it's not an excuse for not getting stuff done, you know. You could still do it. You're fine. Like, you could do it. You just got to find other ways to do it, you know, right? Like, but the point is, what I'm trying to make is that I'm not trying to make this a conversation about ADD or ADHD or dyslexia or anything like that, or OCD or any of the other ones, right? Like, I'm trying to say, like, you shouldn't write yourself off. Oh, I have ADD, I'll never be a pilot, for instance. Or, you know, I have dyslexia, I'll never be a freaking master chemist, right? Like, no, absolutely not. That is just, it's just telling you how you are. And everybody's a little bit different. You know, you can't look at it as something that's going to hinder you. You have to just, it's understanding, you know, understanding why you are the way that you are. I find that putting context on why people are the way that they are actually helps, but you got to explain it that way. We treat it like some kind of disability, which is stupid. And take it from somebody who wrote off math. I wrote myself off, right? I wrote myself off, like, I'm not going to be smart enough to learn math. I want to go play Mario Kart, right? That is the worst thing that you could do. That's the worst thing that you could do. I know that nuclear engines were a thing in development back then. They actually restarted the program with Draco engines very recently, Gujar, like last month. Lockheed, NASA, and DARPA and BWXT are working to restart the nuclear propulsion program, which is flight prototype by 2026, man. So, good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, they are working again. I'm colorblind, I can never fly a plane. There you go, Les. Yeah, sure. Or I need a mechanic to fix my truck because I don't know how to use a multimeter. Kappa. You know, you shouldn't let that hold you back. It's just explanation for why you're the way that you are. And once again, I don't have anything like that, but I did write myself off in school thinking I'm not smart enough. And I know that that's not that much of a stretch. It's the same method of thinking. That's a loser's game. You know, if you write yourself off, guess what? Everybody else is too. You gotta put some equity into yourself, you know what I mean? Diagnosis just help you change your learning style. Exactly, Dragon. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, you gotta, I can confirm that's a true assessment. That's how you gotta treat it. And I wish, the reason why I bring this up is because every time something like this does come up, right, I make it a thing to say this because people need to hear it. You need to hear it. Just because you have whatever diagnosis you have doesn't mean you can't go be smart. Doesn't mean you can't learn this. You just got to find another way to do it. And that's what engineering is all about, finding another way to do things. I just don't want anybody to suffer the same way that I did. It's not fun. It's not fun. You know, I was lucky enough to find a job that I could do to get into the, you know, in the industry. I'm kind of on the outskirts of the industry, I'd say. I'm aerospace industry once removed, you know what I mean? But still, you know, don't write yourself off. Don't sell yourself short. It's not going to end well. That's a losing battle. You already admitted defeat before you even started. Industry adjacent. Yeah, there you go. Rudy's a good example. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I went to college at 40 and became an automotive instructor. It's never too late to learn. You damn right, Roadrunners. Damn right, dude. Actually, Roadrunners, you reminded me. Bree gave me the okay to buy a welder. So I've been shopping around. And yeah, I'm also looking at trunk pans for B-body Chryslers.
Go and throttle up.
How hard is drilling out the spot welds on the trunk pan? Is that difficult? Man, a 94-month resub. In honor of the Lockheed F-94, an interceptor derived from the T-33, which is itself derived from the P-80. Cool. Not at all. Sweet. MIG it up. I actually want a MIG-TIG welder. 2020, who is an actual trade welder, and he watches the stream. 2020 Joe, he was showing me a Lincoln K346. It's a multi-process MIG-TIG stick welder, 120 volt, 120 amp. I don't have heavy outlets out in the garage, but I do have 50 amp service out here, so I think we'll start with that and go from there. Yeah, there you go, Wolfie. Miller, HCP, Lincoln, yeah. Good starting point. Yep. Cool. So yeah, fellas, don't write yourself off. Have some You gotta have some confidence in yourself. Just, I always make it a thing, even if this is kind of weird. I always make it a thing to bring this up because sometimes people need to hear it, man. You gotta hear this stuff. You don't lie to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you say you're bad enough, if you say you're bad at something, you're gonna be bad at something. You know, like. Don't use that as an excuse because you're afraid of failing or something. That's not good. That doesn't get you anywhere. You don't have heavy service yet. Joke's on you. It was the school that wrote you off. All right, well, you're good then. Would I have Harbor Freight? Nah, I wouldn't buy a welder from Harbor Freight. T-Man, you got an interesting question. How many modifications would you have to do to the shuttle mobile launcher to make it into an SLS mobile launcher platform? You'd have to start from scratch, T-Man. The problem with the Saturn V and Space Shuttle launchers is that they weren't designed to carry a rocket that heavy. SLS is really heavy. Those 5-segment SRBs are insanely heavy. A NASA engineer was telling me the other day that one SRB segment weighs as much as the external tank fully fueled. Which is just frick. All right. Solids versus liquids, dudes. Basic states of matter. Hey, no Rockwell Cutie today. Quartz, I was going to do space news, then I'm going to play My Summer Car, I think. I'm talking to a NASA engineer the other day, and they're in chat. They're all over the place. There's tons of engineers. That's what I was beating. Maybe it was the tank dry mass. I'm not sure. I forget. But yeah, Guys, there's plenty of people that work in the aerospace industry that watch the stream. I just don't go around saying where everybody works, because that's their thing to say and not mine. You know what I mean? There's a lot more engineers, like people that work at NASA that watch the stream, or people that work out in the industry that watch the stream. There's a lot more than you might think, and there's a lot of them that lurk too, which is fine. That's cool. Engineers in chat, mod check, yeah. So I mean, but those are the people that are helping me get smarter and helping me be able to explain this stuff better. It really shows the density difference between hydrogen and solids. It may have been the dry mass of the external tank, I forget. But also, I know that SRB propellant is dense. It's very dense, like me. That's how I know. Game recognized game. So it very well may have been fully fueled. We're all dense here. Yes. Seakraken, I'm the Twitch variant of smarter every day. Destin is way smarter than me. Seakraken, that guy is way smarter than me. I'm like way out of my league there. But that's the kind of the cool part. You know, I'd prefer it to be that way, dude, because that means there's always something to learn. You know? I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. Ever. Ever. That's boring. It's not fun. S, you are Starbase adjacent. I don't remember 99% of what I'm talking about, but I'm here for the remaining one. That's fine. You did more things in the field to be smart as him. Yep. All right, MD. See you, buddy. Did we determine if KSP2 is playable? Premedicated, here's my prognosis for KSP. No, here's where I'm at. The game's actually not that glitchy anymore. To be 100% honest with you, that's the good news. The game is really, really not glitchy. It's not bad. You know, guys, when we were flying that YC-14 that we made, it was kind of a quick YC-14 build, but when we were flying that thing around, I didn't really see any problems. There was problems with the control surfaces at first, but we fixed that. Procedural wings are great. I love the procedural wings. That would make building the Star Raker build that we're working on, that would make that a lot easier. You know? Honestly, my big things, this is, if I was talking to Nate right now, this would be the feedback. I would say, 1, there's no absolute snap. There is grid snap with parts, but there's nothing to, like, say you attach a landing gear and you want the landing gear to be perfectly straight up and down. There's nothing to be absolutely sure that you lock it perfectly on a world axis, so basically parallel to the ground. There's no way to do that. I need absolute snap if we're going to do any type of precision build in KSP2. Second part. The editor controls really could do with some polish. I do like a lot of the features in the editor, like the orthographic views are great, but orthographic views are useless if you can't snap to grid, like absolute snap. That's worthless. Orthographic views would favor an isometric movement on parts to make sure that they're aligned. That's what the orthographic views are there for, so you could snap it straight, right? So I'd need absolute snap, basically snap to a world grid, and I need the editor controls to, like, I would really like the editor controls to be basically KSP1's camera controls, with how the KSP1 camera works around focus point. Honestly, other than that, I didn't find many glitches actually out when we went flying around. The plane worked just fine. It was flying perfectly. Like, even a throw-together build, we still built pretty dang well. Average APCP density, ammonium perchlorate density is about 103 pounds per cubic foot. So, Cyborg, I would say external tank dry mass. Yeah. I would say, that, you know, if the density of the solid propellant is 103 pounds per cubic foot, I would say external tank dry mass, not wet mass. But even then, one SRB segment being as heavy as the entire freaking core stage, that's ridiculous. That is an insane. That's insane. That's what I mean. The mobile launchers aren't heavy enough. They aren't strong enough to be able to hold up a rocket that big. But we do have a patch for KSP coming on the 22nd, so that's good. But yeah, KSP, like, it's the controls kind of that are holding me back right now. The game doesn't seem too incredibly glitchy. I mean, I put a good 2 to 3 hours in. Seemed all right to me. Like, let me put it to you like this: if we could get some better editor controls, yeah, I would have no problem playing the snot out of KSP2. Like, I didn't see that much in the way of, like, flying around glitches. But then again, I just flew around. I didn't really go into space much. Pro tip number 292, sell Ford hats as merchandise and you will swim in gold in a week or two. Yeah, except I don't own the rights to that brand. I'm not Henry Ford. I would. If Ford would want me to, I would, but yeah. But yeah, give me some solid editor controls, and I think we will be good. But you guys, see, like, here's the thing. Editor controls in KSP1 at this point in development were pretty bad, too. There were no gizmos. There was no, you know, arrows, no rotation, nothing like that. It was really hard to make things. Like, really, really tough. So, yeah, I mean, if they do a pass on the editor and basically make the editor with KSP1 camera controls and absolute snapping, combined with the great, like, procedural wings, orthographic views, and then middle mouse focus on parts, KSP2 editor will reign supreme. There will be no contest. Were you around when it was known that you could, when it wasn't known that you could get into orbit in KSP? No, that was before my time. Hellfish, I started playing KSP when the .16 patch came out. So I played it basically on the release of... let's look at the patch notes. I started playing... .16 right there. So July 20th, 2012. That's when I first played KSP. It was right around that time. Yeah, they I remember there was a whole debate around them, around like the dev team in the community about adding more planets. I remember that. Why don't you just add more planets? Why don't you just add more planets? Yeah, that's when I started playing right there. Yeah, and there was 16... There was 16.2. 16.1 and 16.2. They're not labeled here, which is kind of funny. The Scott's channel started really growing when he showed getting into orbit. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was there. I was there for most of it, you know. I mean, Scott got into it a little bit earlier than your boy, but... I remember Big D, one of my moderators, I've known him since 2006. So, yeah, we've been friends for almost 20 years. That's weird to say. Okay. Big D is the guy that introduced me to KSP. And then Dr. Maple, another one of my moderators, he still streams. I saw him streaming the other day, which is cool. Big D is the one that introduced me to KSP, and Dr. Maple's the one that introduced me, or convinced me to stream it. Yeah. I still keep in touch with him. I talked to Maple a couple days ago. And Big D was in here. He resubbed, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago, something like that. I remember Big D saying, you gotta buy this game. You gotta buy this game. And me being the stubborn piece of trash that I am, I was like, no, I don't want to play this game. I'm busy with whatever the heck I was playing. I don't even remember what it was. What was I super into? StarCraft, maybe? Of Gold League StarCraft. I sucked at that game. I really like StarCraft, but yeah. Anyway. I don't know what I was into, but Big D basically said, come play this game. Seriously, it's the last game you'll ever play. I mean, yeah, he wasn't wrong. Yeah, Counter-Strike Surf, yeah. When are we building this? You did design something like this a couple of years ago. I'm building a blended wing body right now, Forge, that flies into space. Hell of a first message. Yeah. Yeah, he said it's the last game he ever played, and 20,000 hours of KSP1 later, and counting. Yeah, he wasn't wrong. We also learned about grass today. That's good. Oh boy. Oh jeez, come on. All right. Chad and I had an interesting discussion yesterday, and it's a loaded question. Where do you think SpaceX would be if they decided to do subscale iterative design versus going from Atlas to Saturn V in a single bound? What do you think about them starting first with something like the size of New Glenn? 9 Raptor first stage, Vector upper stage, can use stainless steel and a lot of other tech that Starship uses now. I almost imagine a mini Starship second stage, even like a Terran R concept. I ain't reading all that, man. I ain't reading all that, man. I'm happy for you, though. Or sorry that happened. I ain't reading all that. I ain't reading all that. Ain't nobody got time for that, man. Get the frick out of here. I ain't reading all that. Who are you trying to fool, man? There's enough paragraphs in here from this chat. You hear what we're talking about? We're talking about freaking rocket science in here. I have to read paragraphs about Napier-Stokes equations, right? Like, I ain't reading all that, man. Ah, hell no. Rockets do go burr, though. Oh, boy. Anyway, did you read about Slick 50? Forge? Yeah, I did. Forge, did you see the VOD where I was talking about what I think SpaceX is going to do at the Cape in the future? Is corn grass? Sure, why not? Anyway. Also, Hesper, that Barbie that Barbie copy pasta was pretty fun. That one was pretty funny. I'll give that to you. That was pretty good. It did make me laugh, but I was trying to talk about something serious. Damn it. Oh, boy. Yo, be careful. There's nerds in here, dudes. All right? There's a lot of nerds in here. Be very careful. Yeah, they're cooking, bro. Really cooking. Yep. You like Texas, S-Master? That's good. Yo, Hesper, give me that Barbie Girl copy pasta again. Come on. I'll read that on stream. Let's go. I love refrigerators. Side note, SpaceX is also using Roberts as the launch control center. Rumor has it they're building a control tower. That's dope. I bought a liter of hot sauce, an entire liter. The best part, it was $2. I'm telling you, S, where you live, the cost of living is absurdly high. You know, I found it. Okay, oh, first I got it. Let's say hypothetically, I'm a Barbie girl. Okay, let's even say I'm in a Barbie world. Right, so in this scenario, I would obviously know from personal experience that life in plastic is fantastic. Wouldn't it be reasonable to assume you could brush my hair and dress me anywhere? That's awesome. That's a good copy pasta. Barbie Girl coffee pastas are welcome in here. It's pretty funny, man. Oh, boy. You know what? That copy pasta is knuff. Oh, please, that would be amazing. Eddie, you ever hear the remixes of him singing Cardi B? Dude, it's so inappropriate for the stream. It's so inappropriate, but oh my goodness, is that funny? Oh my god. All right, bring it in. Bring it in. Back to rocket science. Bring it in. The copy pasta is even better since the video is cut together bits of Ben Shapiro. Yeah, Jeff Tor, exactly, dude. It's so ridiculous. That, dude, when I first heard that, okay, you know the point that you get in the day where you've been doom scrolling for a little while and you come across something and you hear it and you're like, all right, that's enough internet for today. I think I'm done. There you go. I was like, okay, that's I'm good. I don't need to do this anymore. I'm gonna go outside and touch grass. Yeah, I don't need to do that no more. Yeah, that's true, Geeson. It's a shame. All right. Anyway, back to more space news. Okay, so this is coming from NASA Ames. Our Viper moon rover passed its review in order to proceed with building the flight unit launching in late 2024. There's Viper. That's a lunar prospecting rover for the South Pole. Also, Rocket Guy, I'm not sure, dude. I'd have to put more thought into what you were saying. Rocket, you're still here, right? I didn't really answer your question. I'm not 100% sure, dude. I think that launching on Falcon Heavy, too. Yeah. There you go. The build is on. The build is on. Oh, whoa, oh, whoa. Caught up in the payload integration. What was the question again? So, that's good. Viper is a prospecting rover that we're going to send to the lunar South Pole to go prospect around for ice so we can figure out a better landing site. Think of it analogous to the Surveyor missions during the Apollo program. Anyway, Rocket Guy's question was, where do you think SpaceX would be if they hadn't chose to basically build Starship and try to go with a more intermediate design? You need to check out there. I ruined it on YouTube. I don't like geek. That doesn't sound fun at all. I always thought that SpaceX would try to redesign Falcon 9's upper stage before they went and built something like Starship. Considering the Air Force project that originally kickstarted the Raptor program, with Starship is basically the result of an Air Force contract to basically research what it would take to make a Methalox upper stage for Falcon that's Raptor vacuum powered. I always thought that that's the route that they would go. They would build a mini Starship that's like maybe the size of like Falcon Heavy's fairing and then try to go and land that thing. I mean, kind of geek, but no. In Texas, the hot sauce is cheaper than the water. Ask Master, with your dietary habits, people are going to look at you funny in Texas, right? Just saying. Trade-offs. This, a reusable Falcon 9 second stage. Basically a small Starship. A Starship that would be like the size of, once again, like Falcon Heavy's extended fairing. That's where I always thought they would go. But Elon said screw it and said, no, let's go big. And believe it or not, like if you think about it, Starship is the intermediate design. If you look at the original Mars transfer vehicle, right? What was it called? What was, it wasn't BFR. It was Mars Colonial Transporter. They wanted a 12-meter core stage, which is ridiculous. And they scaled it back down to 9 meters. So, yeah, MCT. ITS MCT. You remember that thing? Dude, how nutso would it be if they actually tried to build that? Honestly, I feel like the transition to something Starship size comes with so many changes. Yeah, I don't know. I got hot sauce and bean burritos for days. I honestly thought SpaceX was going to give up on I honestly thought SpaceX wasn't going to give up on asparagus staging on Falcon Heavy. Yeah, 12 meters, that's the size of a school bus. The original concept that morphed into Starship Zintaus was a 12-meter core. Dude, MCT would have been the size of like a 10-story office building and about as wide as one, which is unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, this was the original idea, and it is... Yeah, look, dude. Alright. What the heck are you gonna do with that? It was an S1C sized Starship, which is just... Okay. So, I would even say that Starship is kind of the intermediate design. Also carbon fiber. There's no freaking... How the frick would you have made that? Alright, Protected had a question in there. Protected, hey chat, I don't mean to barge in with a random question. I mean, that's just chat in a nutshell. What's up? Is there anyone in here that has an advanced level in aerodynamics? I'd like to PM you a question. Just ask it, dude. Booster 9 is returning to the OLM on Monday. Apparently the problem with the 4-engine failure was related to the Raptor spin-up quick disconnect. They didn't give enough pressure to spin up the preburners. Essentially, the 4 engines became out of sync compared to the rest of the Raptors, and the ECU aborted the setup. That makes sense. That's approaching Sea Dragon scale. It's close. Yeah, absolutely. Flight trajectory for both launches happening today. Cool. You wanted to discuss wing materials, Protected. Okay. So... Yeah, Limprod, that's right. They've done a load of Raptor quick disconnect testing. I mean, okay. Protected, hold off on the wing thing for a second. So, guys, with Starship, all right, we kind of guesstimated that that's what was going on. You know, I said right after the static fire, this was the stream after, I did the static fire on a Sunday, about like 2 weeks ago now, right? And the following Monday, I did a Space News, and we talked about it, and I was sitting there thinking about it. You know, I was reading a lot of threads, ironically not on Threads, I was reading a lot of threads on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. You can call it whatever you want. X is a variable for anything, right? So I was reading a thread, and people were saying, oh, they got to solve the Raptor reliability problem. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, they test Raptors every day at McGregor. And then, so what's the difference between what they're doing at McGregor and what they're doing at the pad? The pad is the difference, because it's not McGregor. It's not a test stand. You're not changing the engine. You're changing the starter on the motor. Starter motors on the test stand are integrated on the test stand. That's not an orbital launch mount. So we kind of suspected that the problem with those Raptors not starting correctly probably had to do with the OLM or the booster and not the engines. So there you go. I mean, Forge, I'm not sure where you got that information from, but I think that was a pretty logical guess. It seems to be on the money, and SpaceX is doing a lot of OLM testing lately, particularly with the pneumatic actuators for starting the outer ring of engines on Super Heavy. That explains why they're testing the OLM so much. Also, McGregor is doing Raptor 3 versus Booster 9 with Raptor 2, but actually they did provide a ton of Raptor 2 testing back when they were working on it, so I'm probably wrong. And McGregor is a clean structure. The pad isn't. Yep. So, honestly, I think that, yeah, that was a pretty good guess on our part. You know, you don't, like, the engine just doesn't malfunction while you're moving it down to Boca Chica, right? Like, you know, it doesn't just malfunction, right? Like, it's going to, it's going to be whatever it's attached to. They're running the quick disconnect every day. Yeah, here, look. They're testing the pneumatic actuators. Take a look. This might get loud, headphone users. Headphone users, this is coming from our buddies over at NSF, Starbase Live. Headphone users, once again, you've been warned. I don't know if it's going to be loud, but we'll see. Yep. Yep, that's loud. Not too bad, but still loud. Better to give the warning than not. Yeah, see, that's the spin start for the outer ring. Holy shnikes. What's this do? Okay. So let's talk about Super Heavy for a second. Super Heavy has 33 engines, right? There's an outer ring, an inner ring, and then center engines. Right? There's 20 on the outer ring, 20 Raptors on the outer ring, 10 Raptors on the inner ring, and 3 Raptors in the center, totaling 33. Now, let's think about Super Heavy going up, right, with Starship. So when Super Heavy goes up, all 33 engines will ignite, right? Goes up into space. Hopefully they do the whole hot staging thing. That all works, hopefully, right? And then Super Heavy, you know, turns around, comes back, and it goes to land. It's not going to land with all 33 engines activated. It's going to start with 13. So it's going to air start, operative thing, air start the inner ring of engines and air start the 3 engines in the center, and they'll slowly shut down engines as they get closer and closer, and eventually it'll just be 3 engines when it goes to get caught, right, by the chopsticks. So, let's think about this. What engines need to be restarted in flight? What engines need to be air started? 13 out of 33, right? You don't need all 33 engines to land. You only need those engines to start once, and that's when you leave the pad, the outer ring of 20. So, the pneumatic actuation systems, basically to start a Raptor engine, you basically got to shoot a lot of air into the turbines to get the turbines spinning fast enough to start moving propellants, and then you ignite it, right? Now, the chines that are on those little, like, kind of triangle things that are attached to Super Heavy, inside of those are nitrogen tanks. And those nitrogen tanks are what actuate, they have enough nitrogen, compressed gas, to basically spin up 13 engines. But no more. That's the starter motor for those engines. Now, you only need enough starter motor, right, to air start the engines when the Super Heavy's on its way back down. The outer ring of 20 engines doesn't need, the starter motor doesn't need to be on, the starting system doesn't need to be on the rocket, because you're not restarting those engines during an ascent. You're only lighting them once while it's still attached to the pad, and then they shut off, and then they come back. And then the inner ring of engines and the inner 3 engines are the ones that are going to be restarted for landing, right? Best case scenario, hopefully that happens. Right? So, what you're seeing here is the starter motor for those engines. You ever take compressed gas in a computer fan and shoot it into it and it goes zzz, right? That's exactly what it's doing. That's what this is doing. The OLM is designed to shoot nitrogen in through the umbilicals and into the outer Raptor engines to get them to start. Why do you need the starting system on those if you're only going to start it when it's attached to the pad? So what you're seeing is the starter motor for the outer ring of engines. At least you're not laid up with in the hospital with a broken leg thanks to someone going a minimum of 5 over a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit and being broadsided on a Link scooter. Wait, what? Maverick, are you okay? Should have heard it in person. Sorry to go back to the bar. Oh gosh, no, Eddie, please, no. I didn't know that. It makes a lot of sense, though. Yep. And Weather Guy, we theorized after the static fire, the Booster 9 static fire, that it was probably a ground side system. It was probably GSE that wasn't starting the Raptors, because the Raptors start every time just fine on the test stand. We have NASA Spaceflight's camera on the test stand, right? So we see that they start fine most of the time, right? Well, not most of the time, all the time. So that tells me that what's the difference between them testing it on a test stand and them testing it on a booster on the OLM? The booster and the OLM is the difference, so it's probably not something Raptor related. Raptors are probably reliable enough, but if the starter motor is different between the test stand and the orbital launch mount, well, there you go. There's your anomaly. And SpaceX is testing the heck out of the OLM. They've been doing tests all the time. Like that. See what I mean? This animation will help you explain if you want. No, I'm good. All set. The SR-71 starter motor is very nice. Very nice. That's Intrepid's start cart. Credit to Dots for getting all the cameras out there, something like that. No worries if you don't know, but does NSF have a database of all the Raptor static fires and their various information and stuff? I'm sure that information is somewhere around someone. I don't know if NSF has it. I'm sure somebody's been keeping track. Looking through the other space news links. Static fire info is in the Raptor NSF forum. There you go. I'm really curious just to see the kind of progression the McGregor stuff visualized. Yep. So does Booster 9 have the hot stage? I think they're going to modify 9 for the hot staging article. I think. You're fine. Recovering from surgery with a bit of road rash. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Jonathan McDowell's looking for someone to take over his launch database, same state as you. I am not smart enough to do that man's work, Foz. And that's not even me doubting myself. I don't think I could manage the meticulousness of it with I don't think I could manage the meticulousness of it with the stream. Hey, Roro, what's going on? Not really related, but when do you think rocket launches will get reliable enough to launch in any weather? Thinking about SpaceX's plan to do suborbital commercial flights. Well, submitted. I'm not 100% sure when that happens, but I will tell you this. And now, keep in mind, this isn't the end-all, be-all, right? This isn't the end-all, be-all of explanations for this, but if we just cast our mind back to this real quick.
Raptor 1. Go. Raptor 2. Go. Stage 1.
Let's just, you know, for science.
Good morning. On your screen is Starship as it awaits our first ever integrated flight test from Starbase Texas.
Flight directors, go for flight. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, ignition, 2, 1. couple of times.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Oh, wait for it. Wait for it.
Tower clear, Linda picks over. Onboard view from Starship. What a sight. We're flying at twice the thrust of the Saturn V heading to space.
Thanks, Q.
Well, okay, so at the high points in the flight, dude, the high points in the flight, they lost thrust vector control, so basically the thing is just kind of doing its thing. And let me tell you this, watch what it does.
That's another engine.
See that? You see it flip over? If that is any indication, right? If that's any indication for what Starship can take in terms of wind shear, I'm pretty sure this thing will be able to launch whenever you want. Now, don't get me wrong, like launching in a hurricane obviously isn't a good idea, right? I would say, you know, if it can take that, and once again, that's not an end-all, be-all. That doesn't mean like, oh, it'll be good in every weather condition. That's not how aerospace engineering works, right? If it can take that type of shear load, I think there's good promise that this thing will be able to, at the very least, and this might be a little bit of a stretch, it probably is, at the very least it'll be able to launch in like any condition that a plane would launch in. That's a guess though, I don't know. I mean, did you see it? I mean, you saw it spin around like that? Look at this. That's ridiculous. Look at that. Look at that. There is an insane amount of wind shear being put on that stack right now, and it straight up doesn't care. I've done that in KSP. Yeah, right? Claudia, I got kind of a broad question. What do you think is the best soft skill to develop for someone looking to get into the space industry? I figured you'd have some good insight. Soft skill? Learn how to work with your hands, Cloudy. I would say the easier way to get into the industry is to become a technician. Basically, the guys that put stuff together or put stuff on the pad, that's trades. You need to learn how to weld, learn how to fabricate, learn how to put stuff together. Technicians are the easy way in, but you don't get to design anything that way either. It's just, hey, attach this bolt here. Learn to work with your hands. That's really important. Isn't it high enough to avoid air wind pressure? No. No, not at all, Bone. Just because you're high up in the air doesn't mean the shearing forces up there are ridiculous. You're still, yeah, there's not as much pressure, but the air, because there's not as much pressure, the air is traveling way faster. Upper level winds can go above 300-400 miles an hour. Well, maybe not 300-400 miles an hour. It's more like 200 to 300 miles an hour, right? But the upper level winds can get very, 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 very fast. And at that point, the pressure doesn't matter. You're still running into all that air that's running into you going really, really fast. You're still hitting something going with a tangent speed of 400 miles an hour, even if it's just air molecules. Enough of those could literally rip a rocket to shreds. Okay, thanks for the insight. Yep. And Protectin', you were talking about wings. I don't know what happened to your buddy, but they're looking, the kind of move right now is to make wings out of the same type of thing that they make fairings out of, to make them really, really light and really, really strong. So I don't know if that's the information you're looking for, but yeah. It even survived some of the forbidden silly putty. Yeah, that's also right. How high was Starship when it was flipping? I don't know, 40 kilometers up? That's a pretty long way. Yeah, Cloudy, learning to work with your hands. I mean, Cloudy, there's a reason why I work on cars and stuff. The reason why is because it's there, and it's really accessible, and it is a piece of mechanical equipment that you can literally get into and drive around in, which is really, really freaking cool. That's my favorite part. There's nothing like driving around in something you made. that's pretty neat. I do like that. But those same type of soft skills are the same type of ones that you need to put rockets together. But you just need to be a little bit more precise when you're putting rockets together. But you gotta learn to work with your hands. Technicians, the people that assemble the vehicle, you know, good like hands-on mechanical skills. That you want an easy way to get into the space industry? Be the guys that help build launch pads. Be the guys that help integrate vehicles, stuff like that. I say wing. Parachute is a more accurate description, but it's fine. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Yeah, interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different... People are looking to make wings out of a lot of different things nowadays, but... Who knows? Tinkering with machines is a good fundamental skill. Yep. Yeah, Rip, I'm with you on that one, dude. You were talking about a paramotor accident. Oh, dear. Oh. Interesting. Let me read your question one more time. I think it went off the chat. Are we gaming on Monday? Yeah, there's a closure. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, upper level wins. I mean, if it can survive spinning around like that with upper level wins, I think it's a safer assumption to kind of think that Starship is really designed to launch in anything from the start, which is good. There's a lot of rockets that can launch in anything. Soyuz can launch in the middle of a blizzard. It's fine. You know, it's just how you engineer it. Yeah, the jet stream is 380 to 450 kph. Yeah, that's still something hitting you going that fast. It's Newton's laws are still applicable here, you know what I mean? So yeah, here we have new pictures of the second mobile launcher that's being built to shift us back into Artemis gears here. I was scared that the separation mechanism was just going to snap in half, but man, it survived spinning like that. Hats off to things built like a tank. Well, yeah, of course it's a tank. It's fuel tanks. That was a joke. Yeah, see, more sub-assemblies for the second mobile launcher there. Oh, I see what they're doing. See that piece right there. The one that's up on the peg, that... no, it's not up on the peg. It's just sitting there. That is one of the pieces that's going to go up on these pegs. See, 1, 2, and 3. These are the plates that they build the mobile launcher on. And it looks like they're putting in the first truss right there. How might a rocket be protected versus lightning besides setting the SCE to auxiliary? Oh, of course, if a rocket gets hit by lightning, as long as if the electricity has nowhere to go, i.e. it's not creating a circuit, i.e. it can't arc through the atmosphere and ground itself out, then it's not going anywhere. I mean, if it gets hit by heat lightning, I'm pretty sure. Oh, excuse me. I'm pretty sure that's not good for it. But I mean, honestly, the best way to make it lightning proof, dude, is don't launch when there's surface electric field rule. It's called a wagon, geek. That thing on the back of the crane. It's for holding extra counterweight. Yeah, it's literally called a wagon. That's the crane terminology for it. Yeah, that crane is going to be doing a lot of rotating back and forth, so the wagon rotates with it. And the whole thing is on a big wooden platform to disperse the load. Anyway. So, yeah, of course, if there's no like place for the lightning to arc down and ground out on the ground. See, like with Apollo 12, the lightning struck the rocket and the lightning arced down the plume. It arced down the plume and hit the mobile launcher. And it created a circuit for a second. A short circuit. Yeah, that fried a lot of things. Well, not fried a lot of things. The signal condition electronics took a dump. Oh, boy. Yeah, I mean, rockets, if it's not creating the circuit O-force, then whatever. But with that being said, lightning can arc from cloud to rocket to cloud. That's probably not good for it either. The best thing that we have against it is, well, isolating all of your stuff. That's isolating all your electronics on board, right? And also surface electric field rule. Basically, don't put the rocket into a scenario where it's going to become a lightning rod. That's what surface electric is all about. And the reason why we have the surface electric field rule for all rockets is because of Apollo 12. Hey, Predominant, what's up? I summarized my original question in the previous message. I saw it. Oh, Ripper, I'll read that in a second, dude. That... Ooh, Rip, if you have a picture of that, I'd like to see it, please. Short summary. A paramotor wing functions on the principle of inflation due to pressure difference. He had a collapse in the wing, lost pressure in one part. I was wondering why they don't use parasealed inflatable wings like kit surfers do, and I was wondering if there is an aero genius in chat who could discuss with that. Probably do it because it's simple. It's simple. Let me just make sure. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. Oh, you're talking, so this thing, right? Probably, I don't know enough about paramotors to really say, dude, but the reason why they probably do this is because it's simpler. It's like Thomas the Tank Engine always said, simple is better. I mean, the whole idea behind the paramotor is that you can you don't need to inflate anything with the parachute. You just get a running start and it'll start winging for you, you know? With proper electrical shielding and other methods, it should be okay-ish, but like EJ's saying, just avoid it. Yep. Was that a Bullet Train reference? It was a Bullet Train and a Thomas the Tank Engine reference. Which, Thomas the Tank Engine is reference in Bullet Train. Simple is better. Yep. So, Ripper, your next project is 79 Z28 RS. T-tops. Ooh, T-tops. Have all the parts for it, got it all for free with 2 extra Z28 hardtops. All are rust-free, good clean bodies, but I can build 1 ding free. Yo, Rip, you in the Northeast, man? I'll take the other 2. I'll take the dinged up ones and make some junky roadkill cars, you know what I'm saying? Rip, my office is in my shop. Yeah, I got a shop. About 1,000 square foot garage. It's not very big, but it's enough to do work, dude. Northwest. Damn it, man. You're in Oregon? Right on, right on. Yeah, all good, all good. Yeah, I'm in the salt belt, man. Stuff rusts badly if you're not careful. I have a 97 F-250 that I bought from Hoonigan. I drove it home, Southern California truck. There's no rust on it. I have this awesome heavy-duty truck, and I'm not driving it in the winter. It's too clean. The cab corners are mint. Fenders are mint. The bed, you know they rust over those rear wheels. It's all mint. I'm like, nah, I'm not driving that in the snow. Frick that. I'll cover it up and put it in the garage. You're giving away a 66 GT Dart rust-free clean body. You had my curiosity, Rip, but now you have my attention. How much you want for it? Salt is a killer on mint trucks, that's right. Geek, it is fun to drive. I have a bunch of square bodies sitting. Oh God, chat, what's going on? You can have the dart? Aqualex, shut the hell up, man. I'm worried about the salty air down here. That's not good for your truck, S-Master. Yeah, just keep an eye on it. So, Rip, how are the frame rails on that dart? I don't build Mopars, just Ford and Chevys. You got any pictures? And are you willing to ship? It's mint with a posi. It's got an 8 3/4 in it. Frick you! It's got an 8 3/4. Dude, don't give that away. No! Don't do that. You should sell that. Mopar people go bananas for stuff like that. We could part out that dart for the Cornet. Or we could part out the Cornet for the dart. Oh God. Oh God, that's not a good idea at all. This is a really bad idea. Rip, that's awesome though, man. You got some pretty sweet iron, man. Are you sure you'd want to give something like that away? Those Mopar, what is it? Shore grip? They're True Tracks or something? I got it for 50 bucks with new wheels and tires. Sold them for 600 bucks. Yeah, there you go. Rip, you got the title to that thing? Did you decide if you're going to Detroit? I had to sign off after lunch. I still haven't figured that one out yet, Tape. Maybe. Hey, Tiny Victory. No title, but could get one through a towing company. So where I'm at in Massachusetts, man, no title sucks. It's really hard to get a car titled with no title. Because Massachusetts. I mean, Rip, shoot me a message on Discord, man, or a Twitch DM or something if you're serious about that. If we can't find a home, if I can't have a home for it here, dude, I'm sure we could find one. So if you're looking to get rid of it, I can help you with that. There's a bunch of car nuts in here. I mean, we like rockets, but once again, I got a '59 Ford sitting in my garage. Here, let me go turn the cameras on. I'll be right back. Let me show you. Okay. All right, Rip, here. Take a look. So, I turned on the cameras. That's a live shot. That's the truck. I restored that truck on stream, dude. You should see the 79 short box I got for free with under 35,000 miles on it with 400? Just needed a fuel pump? Oh, that's sweet, dude. That's sweet. That's a sweet truck. Yeah, that's mine, man. Just fix the sucker, dude. I drove away from my wedding in that thing. You could, if you look at the top left of the screen by those two 2x4s, there's cans hanging on the girder. Those are the cans on the back. But yeah, dude, just finished that thing up. I mean, dude, I don't know what to do about that dart, man, but if I wasn't so far away, dude, I'd go grab it right now. Like, I'd be like, oh, let me go. Congrats, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. That's cool, man. Hell yeah, Rip. It's good to meet you. Good stuff. I don't know what you're talking about, Tape. You didn't see it on camera, so did it really happen? Got busy with work, but here's the video. Goalie, we were talking about that already. I bet you'd love the 70 High Boy. Russ, you had me at 70 High Boy, dude. Dana 6080 Lockers picked it up for $250 for the title. Where the frick are you finding this stuff for this much? Damn, man. You know how much, dude, you know how much that truck would go for over here? What the frick? Oh, I love High Boys, dude. Those are sweet trucks, dude. What's the ETA for launch? We're about an hour and 15 out, dudes. That's freaking cool, man. Ah, dude, now I want that Dart. Dude, I like A-body Mopars, man. They're small, front engine, rear wheel drive, and you can make them go very fast. Yeah, dude, go find a 340 for that thing. Throw it in there. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's a freaking killer car. 66 Dart, neato. But that's not the Dart that everybody wants. Everybody wants like a 70 Dart, but either way, it's still a 66 Dart. I should switch over to the launch API we use. Can't remember the last time it didn't say estimated. Use next space flight, drummer. I can get a 65 Ford matching box, complete 2-wheel drive toolbox on side. Very good body, mint. Still has good factory paint. Was parked needing a tune-up for $300. It's been fine, Maverick. That's Mr. EJ. Thank you very much. Wait, isn't the launch 3 hours out? It was at 8 last time I checked, guys. Has it changed? It's at 10 now. Fuck. Well then. Balls. Did I see the link? No. I get rigs all the time for very cheap. Rip, if you pop back in here, dude, I'm always looking for stuff. I don't know. Now I'm thinking how much it would cost to get that car over here. I very much like that picture, Hellfish. Yeah. My friends call you the budget king. My guy. I know, Geek. This is ridiculous. Geek, your truck have a tow hitch? I'll pay you for gas. Just saying. Costs more than it's worth. Yeah. So, Rip, I have this interesting scenario, dude. Right? So, if I wrench on a car on stream, and dude, every mechanic should do this. Like, everyone that wrenches for fun should do this.
Discovery.
I wrench on cars on stream, so I write off all the parts for all my cars because it's work, right? This is why, dude, everyone should do this. I could, like, now you could just do the write-off stuff, but I have people watching, so like wrenching on cars and working on the truck, I streamed all of that, right? So it actually made me some cash. So the idea is that I can buy stuff that's too far gone and work on it. And it's not a big deal. Like stuff that's like not worth it, right? It's all of a sudden it's worth it for me because I make money off the labor. You know what I mean? Hey, you got gifted a sub. Weather guy gifted you a sub. Nice. No, Grab Shark, shut up. It's fine. Hey. F on too far gone. Yeah, Rip, I'm kind of with you on that one, dude. I hate it when people say, oh, it's not worth it, and just use that as an excuse because they're lazy to not fix the damn thing. That pisses me off. I hate that. Nothing is too far gone, especially old cars, because they're fixable. You can fix them. Would you restore a 1930s Model T? They stopped making the Model T in 1929. At least I'm pretty sure. Either way, Rip. Yeah, I'm always down to talk cars, man. That was totally a Mona Lisa veto moment. Sorry. Guys, I go on that damn Gov auction site all the time. You never see me buy anything, right? It's because I have some self-control. Not a lot, but some. A very limited amount. Hey, quiet. When you say that, Snackless, it sounds really negative, all right? Oh, dude, I love Jennings Gimbal. Today we have a 1929 International truck, and I'm going to try to get her running. That guy can make anything run. It's pretty rad, actually. I gave my friend his dream truck is a 57 with a 55 grill. I got it for $250 with a perfect body. Alright, I guess they were produced from 02 to 27, so my guess was way off. It would be a Model A's in-house. Funny story behind that. Henry Ford didn't want to stop making Model T's. He said, this is the best car that people can buy. Why would I remake it? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. His son, Edsel, basically had to force him to redesign the Model T into the Model A and start making that, because Henry Ford was like, no, why would I make another car? I make tons of money off this. We should just keep making this. And Edsel, his son, was like, no, we shouldn't. No one makes cars like this. Your car is a freaking tractor. Everybody else is actually making automobiles. Right? We need to adapt. And he was right. So they made the Model A instead, against Henry Ford's kind of wishes, but he wasn't running Ford at the time, as Edsel was. So they made the Model A, and it turns out that the Model A was one of the best-selling cars of all time. Funny how that works. Do you want a 52-minute documentary to see how they... I mean, you'd link it, Alex. I'll watch it, probably, if I get some time. Speaking of auctions, have you been shown any rocket parts to buy lately? No, 415. Thank God. Oh, boy. You'd fall in love with my place. I have all the cars all over the place just sitting till I have time for them. Rip, I'm the same way. I have trucks and cars all over the place, dude. It's just... that stuff's hard to come by in the Northeast, man. It's hard to come by out here because, yeah, everything rusted out, everything rotted out. That, and Massachusetts isn't known for its car culture, you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that have muscle cars around here, but yeah. This is how you build a high boy. Get one, then get a 70 motorhome. They have tilt wheels and a fancy interior. You want a Black Hawk? No, I have no use for a helicopter. Last pulls. Alright, hold on. Alex, I'm going to load that link up. I think, is this the free documentary? I think I've seen this. Or, no, it's Welt. I'm pretty sure I've seen that. Lancia's single owner, perfect, not too far gone example. Rip. Okay, that might be a little too far gone. But anyway, yeah, Rip, I mean... we have to look into shipping costs, dude. I wouldn't be against it, man. It's just me, I feel like this is largely based on the Edsel story. Preston Tucker, yeah, Tucker made a really cool car, dude. Way ahead of its time. Did I miss the launch? It got pushed to 10 o'clock, Facha. We need to get your remote streaming setup figured out so you can do more out-of-office streams. Yeah. What's my favorite race car? Ford GT40 Mark IV. Yeah. The Brabham BT46 fan car. Yeah, that's a cool car too, but not my favorite race car, S-Master. 787B. Good call, Lexi. Good call. You need one of those. You want a canoe? Nice, drummer. There you go. Canoe, Canoe had something went weird with Canoe the other day. I forget. I think there was a GAO on them or something. Well, maybe not GAO. There was something. I forget. Rip, you want to go to wide body on the 79 T-top, but it came with every option they could have, even the rear window louver. Don't wide body that, man. Don't wide body that. Get that thing working and take one of the other shells and build a wide body out of that. It's already dinged up. You're gonna cut it up anyway for a wide body kit. Don't ruin. I would say don't ruin the straight one. I'd say fix up the straight one, sell that thing, right, and then take the dented up ones and build a wide body out of that. Ah, you're making me want to wrench, Rip. How dare you? You're making me want to wrench. Frick. Well, you have MSC. Yeah, we should... Well, the launch got delayed, and it got delayed right into the after-hours slot where we were going to play Summer Car, so... You have a low mile, 450 horsepower, 454 for it. O2XX Transit at T10 4-speed with new flywheel and clutch for free. Damn, why are you telling me all this stuff, man? You're 3,000 miles away. Ah. I'm gonna rent a box van, Rip, and show up at your door and be like, yo, anything that's free, put it in here. Alright. Hey, come back. Alright, well, yeah. Let's stop space news and let's get her done. I gotta get the steering wheel out. I have a backhoe to help load. Alright. Rip, I have a carcane addiction. This is bad. You're enabling me right now. Let's play Summer Car.
Discovery, go and throttle up.